whole process is done as far as choosing the committees. Actually, a Democrat proposed some decent changes to do that more in public instead of in private. And I think that's something that we could consider. Then one of the next things we'll do is we'll form the committees. And I've been asked to ask for environmental regulations. Here in our part of the state, our electrical power is separate from most of the rest of the state. And we're affected by Arkansas, Louisiana, and Oklahoma. And I'm going to ask for that committee and probably appropriations and maybe land and resource management again, which I'm on. And I welcome your input on that. What are the major issues of the 84th session? Well, the budget's the biggest one. It's basically where we set our priorities. We can't just print money like Washington. And even if we did, like Washington, all we're going to do is devalue the purchasing power, and we're going to just create more and more debt. We need to make hard choices like we do in our businesses and our homes. And I'm thankful for our governor, who's made it clear from the outset that transportation is going to be a big issue. And he wants to see $4 billion more dollars put towards transportation. We do need more efficiency within TxDOT, but we do have a lot of roads, and we knew that's one of the best forms of economic development, is to put it in things that everybody can benefit from. And what we knew transportation and water were two big items last time, but we really didn't deal with them until the end of the regular session, or even really the special session. We spent all the money, and then we asked for y'all to vote for some more money, and maybe really work around the constitutional limits on our budget. But I'm grateful that transportation is going to be dealt with up front. I hope it is. That's what the governor's talking about. We don't want to continue to max out our debt with a credit card. We do have a lot we need to do. We're talking about ending some of the diversions of our gas tax. I think that would be a good thing. But part of that goes to public education, so we're going to have to make up for that somewhere else. Water is a big issue, and we can't solve that based on merely our votes. We don't have enough votes here in East Texas to protect our water. We've got to protect it with the Constitution and with property rights, and perhaps with some innovative thinking about how we can provide water on a voluntary basis if the price is right, and not just let them come and steal from us. One of the things that we're working on is to require that in the water plan that it be consensual. If you know, right now there's a decision that's going to be made on Thursday. Region C, Dallas-Fort Worth, is basically planning to take our water through a reservoir and up north of Mount Pleasant called Marvin Nichols. But it's not just going to take the water. It's going to take the land to collect the water. And it's also going to affect thousands of acres, tens or hundreds of thousands of acres of mitigation land that may be required by the federal government because of the Clean Waters Act. And so what my proposed change would be is that if they want to take our water and build their plan for providing water based on our region, they have to have our consent. And I think that's reasonable. And if we really had a free market with respect to water, it wasn't subsidized so that it was kept real low in Dallas-Fort Worth for their fountains and for their parks and swimming pools and lots of things. And my parents lived there. I lived there a lot. Those are good things. But they might think differently about it if the price actually went with what was really it took to get there. And we might be more attracted to providing that water if they would pay for it on a free market basis. There's some things I've been working on in that regard. I hope we can make some headway there. Border security is going to be a big issue. Yes, in the back.
Speaking of water, what about a bill to take fluoride out of our water in Texas?
I have worked on that some. I'm not in favor necessarily of forcing that issue, but making the people aware.
Why not?
Well, if the community wanted it voluntarily, I frankly do not like it. And I think the best way to move forward on that is to be transparent and to tell the people, number one, where the fluoride is coming from.
Tell them what fluoride is.
And tell them that it's a pollutant, that if it spills on your highway, that you have to have a hazmat team to clean it up. There are serious concerns with what you're saying, and I think it's something that we should consider, and we've worked on in my office, and we may be bringing something to help make some progress so that communities can make that decision and at least tell the people what it's costing, where it's coming from, and what the natural rate of fluoride is in the water and what we're raising it to.
But can you explain why fluoride is in water?
Well, some of it's naturally occurring. Some of it is put there because some people believe it helps your teeth, but it only helps them topically, and we ingest it.
It doesn't help them at all.
Yeah,
Research the topic.
Yeah, I'm very much with you.
Thank you.
But I do think there's a good way to go about it. I appreciate you bringing that attention up. Thank you. Yes, Bob.
On water usage, if they pay for it, they'll conserve, or we can force them to, use little shower heads and toilets and that kind of stuff. We got to be able to make them pay the value of the water. How do we do that?
We stop subsidizing it. So what we do is, I was a mayor, and we don't like the prices going. We don't like the gas prices going up. I remember everybody thought the sky was going to fall and oil went way up there, but we adjusted. And the free market is the best way to allocate scarce resources, not 181 people in Austin. And if you are going to have to allocate it, it's better to do it on the local level, where you can go to your councilman and see him on a daily basis and hold him accountable and tell him how it's affecting you. It's much harder with me. It's even harder with Washington, but we've got it all upside down. Most of your regulations are coming from Washington. And so, yes.
At the billions that it would cost to build this reservoir and has anybody seriously looking at Bahrain and figuring out how they run desalinization for millions of people?
They are looking at it, and not only around the coast, but there's brackish water everywhere. And I think it doesn't have the same degree of salt in it that it does in the ocean. I do think if we allow for a free market, it will become viable. The other thing about Marvin Nichols that we need to ask and that we're working on, Michael, is there's two faults in the state of Texas. There's the Mejia fault that runs north and south. And then there's the Talco fault. Y'all happen to know where Talco is? It's straight north. It's right where they want to build the reservoir and the dam. And it is difficult. We have a provision in statute now that you can't divulge some of that information. And that's crazy. And if you're going to build a major reservoir on top of a fault and a dam, we need to know the facts and we need to evaluate that. I don't think that's a good thing. We need to talk about that more. Yes, Pete?
Will you commit before us tonight that you refuse to have any more special sessions, and you'll make sure you take care of business and quit bouncing stuff like this water thing to the public and the constitutional amendments, which is nothing but a ping pong